Hello, and thank you for joining your free training, How to Grow Your Business with These 5 Powerful Money Mindset Shifts. I'm Meredith Bissaker, and I'm a certified money coach. I help entrepreneurs overcome their money blocks so that they can make the money they want to make in their business. It sounds simple. We all want to make money in our business, but for some reason, even though we know all the tricks, we have the right tools, we've worked with the right coach, and we've taken the right courses, the money's still not coming. And quite often, it comes down to your money mindset. I'll be talking a little bit more about what money mindset means in a few moments. So just stay with me. We'll get there. If you're not clear about what that term means, and if you're not clear about what money blocks mean, we'll get there in just a moment. I'm going to just share my screen here and get to the slides. And here we are. And let's make that a full screen so that it looks a little nicer for you. There we go. So again, welcome to your free training, Grow Your Business with These 5 Money Mindset Shifts. Today's training is fluff free. I have no pitch. I have nothing to sell you. So this is pure content. I'm not going to waste a lot of your precious time talking about myself and what I do. I want to give you the goods on money mindset. So again, I mentioned that, you're probably here because you feel like you're doing all the right things in your business, and still that shift isn't happening for you. You're not making the money you want. And often it feels like a struggle. You're connecting, your visibility's there. So why the heck aren't you making more money? The other reason you might be here is because you feel guilty about charging for your services or for your products. And I'll be getting into that a little bit more as well. I should be able to help you shift that guilt so that you feel empowered rather than guilty. The other thing is that you spend too much time worried about making money in your business. And that comes down again to that struggle. The money's not coming. So you lose your creativity because you're worried about the money because you've invested in your business or you're not working in another job, etc., etc. So we want to shift that away. We want your focus to come off of the lack that you're feeling so that you can boost your creativity, boost your energy, and attract the right clients to you. So what you're going to learn today is how to identify if money blocks are what's standing between you and the money you want to make. And the other thing you're going to learn, and these are all in nutshells, of course, are some strategies for overcoming these money blocks that you can start using right now, tonight, this week. These are simple but powerful. So as I promised, I'm defining money mindset. Money mindset describes the way you think about money. Very simply put, it's a term that we're hearing more and more, not just in the business world, but across the board. Sometimes it's referred to money mentality, but just the way you're thinking about money. What does that mean? I mean, you could say, okay, well, I think about money as something I need because I have to buy stuff, or I think about money all the time because it's something I need to make in my business. So let's get right down to money blocks, because what happens is we can have a really positive money mindset where we're thinking money flows to me. Things that sound like affirmations, or just really our own positive thinking, and you can get there. So the opposite of that is money blocks. What are money blocks? Well, that's the part of your money mindset that literally puts up its hands and says, I can't do this. I can't do this. And it stops the money from flowing toward you. And I'm not talking about in a woo-woo law of attraction kind of way. You're actually subconsciously some way, for some reason, stopping the money from flowing to you. So you have limiting beliefs that stop you from taking those next steps to create money in your business. And here are a few examples. I always make mistakes with money. So I've coached clients who are what we call an innocent money type. And they're so afraid of handling money that they're actually okay with not letting the money flow to them. They're actually okay with not asking for the sale. And they're actually okay with keeping their income at a certain level so that they don't have to work harder at managing their money, even though it's not that much harder and there's easier ways. But that's one money block. Another money block is it's okay if I don't make a ton of money as long as I'm making a little bit. I've heard that before. I'm not in business to make a lot of money. Okay, I'm wondering what's happening there when I hear that. Why don't you want to make more money? What's happening? I'm not saying, and I want to stop right here and tell you that I am not the coach who's going to tell you to chase those 5-figure months if that's something that doesn't feel good to you now or later. You could be living quite a comfortable life, earning $50,000, $60,000 a year, maybe even less depending on where you live. And that's okay. You are not your money. You should not value yourself on your when you compare yourself to your income. However, if you're not earning enough money to sustain your lifestyle, if you're not earning enough money to sustain or to cover your basic needs even, it's time to look at ways to start making more money. Because if you're just living with your basic needs and you're feeling miserable, you do not need to live that way. It's time to change your thinking and realize that you do have access to more money if you put in the effort and take the right steps. Another money block here. Some people, a lot of people, maybe even you, feel like you're greedy when you say you want to make more money, even when you think you want to make more money. You're not greedy when you want to make more money, as long as you're clear about why you want to make that money. And I'll get into that in a little bit. So who am I anyway, right? I'm suspecting you've seen me around. If you're getting this email, you've signed on to one of my lists. I'm sending this only to people on my email list right now. And I, as I said, am Meredith Bissiker, certified money coach. I have my certification through the Money Coaching Institute in California. And I have over 20 years of experience in finance, accounting, and banking. So numbers and money are things that come, topics that are very natural for me. It wasn't until a few years ago that I realized that I had this knack for supporting other people who were struggling with their finances. I would go to friends' houses and literally they would lay their bills out in front of me, their statements, or we'd be out for walks and they would ask me questions about their money. And they trusted me. They knew that I wouldn't judge them, most importantly. And they always felt better after I talked to them. And so there's more to my story, but that is one very important part of it. So if you want, after you watch the presentation, if you want to ask me any questions, please feel free to email me at meredith@meredithbissiker.com. And you can also find me on Facebook. Please feel free to send me a message via Facebook or find me in my growing group called Make Money with Heart, which I started for entrepreneurs who want to feel good about the money they're making because they have good motives behind their business, but they also want to make more money. So as I said, I'm a certified money coach. I am a mom to 2 daughters. I've been with my husband for for 25 years, and I live on Vancouver Island in British Columbia in Canada. Some little minor details. I'm also an entrepreneur with wins and with what I would call failures. But as you get to know me, you'll realize I don't like the word failure because we learn so much. So, about almost 6 years ago, my husband was laid off from his job, and we just had a baby. We just had our second daughter. And we were quite excited. We knew that this layoff was going to happen. We had a business going for the work that my husband does, the type of work my husband does. And long story short, that business failed. We were earning an income, but it was too up and down. And I couldn't work more than a couple days a week because our daughter had some special needs when she was a baby and when she was a toddler. So we were really scrambling for money. We went through all of our savings. We went into deep debt and experienced a money crisis like we've never experienced before. Sure, as students, we've been up and down, and we had student loans and some consumer debt from before that we had paid down. So, long story short, as I came out of that, I realized that even when we were starting to pay down our debt and save some money, there was something else that kept me feeling super anxious. Even though things were looking really up, I was sick to my stomach forever. Um, I was miserable. I was tired. I was not myself. And finally, it dawned on me somehow that we have an emotional tie to money. They don't teach this when you go to school to become a CPA, which I know now. They don't teach this in the banks. They don't teach it when you're working in government to think about money emotionally. Of course not. No one takes you at 18 years old and says, "Hey, by the way, you have a new way to think about money." And you're going to be rather emotional about it. Nobody does that. So luckily I had picked up a book called Financial Recovery by Karen McCall, and that is the book that inspired me to become a money coach. So I have, in the past year, after I got my training in September of 2014, and since then I've coached a ton of entrepreneurs who, as you know, I narrowed down the people who I was attracting. I Dozens and dozens of these entrepreneurs end up having a lot of the same story, where they were feeling guilty about charging or they were afraid to ask for the sale. And it was obvious to me that I am here to help entrepreneurs break through these money blocks. So today I'm going to share a lot of the juicy tidbits that I've learned over the past year, especially around business and trying to make money from business and where we get tripped up. So I'm talking about entrepreneurs of small business. A lot of the entrepreneurs I talk to are online entrepreneurs who own smaller businesses as well. And a lot of them are just starting to kick off, at least in the online realm. So I know you need something different. A lot of you have probably come across courses or books or trainings or coaches who talk about the law of attraction or manifestation. And I'm going to tell you right now that I am a fan of the law of attraction when we pair it with something else, and that is taking action. And I'll be talking about that in a little bit. So I'm not here today to talk about affirmations because affirmations don't work if your subconscious is clogged with uh, limiting beliefs that are holding you down. If you keep trying to push these in, your subconscious is going to be like, sorry, I don't believe that. So whatever, right? So this is where I come at it. We're going to look at what's happening deep in your brain that triggers you to react certain ways to money and the way that you operate around it and run your business. So you started your business because you want to make an impact, like a big impact. And that's why I started the Make Money with Heart group on Facebook. I really believe that there's so many of us who started our business first and foremost because we saw a need. I see a need for helping people overcoming their shame about their previous money mistakes and to start mitigating that fear of regret that we all have because we've made stupid mistakes. I think I've just air quoted twice so far. So I'm hearing some banging out there. I hope that that doesn't bother you too much. So yes, you're here first and foremost. You have your business first and foremost because you want to make an impact. You also want to make money from your business, and that's why you're here. As I said before, 100% believe that it is okay to want to make money. There is nothing wrong about that. And you can feel really good about it. There's all sorts of reasons to feel good about making money. So before we go any further and really dig into the meat of this training, I would like to ask you to turn off any distractions. No notebook needed because obviously you've got the link to this training. And I will provide you with a link to the slides below the YouTube entry here. And also, this was meant to be a live training, and as the tech gods felt fit, it's not live. So I won't be answering any live questions at the end of the training, which will take about 30 minutes. As I mentioned before, I have some questions from people on my list who had particular questions they wanted answered. So let's talk about the 3 signs you know you need to make more money. I'm just reading that. 3 signs you need to make more money. Your plan of impact includes philanthropy, but you can't give on the scale you're dreaming of. Maybe you feel you can barely give right now. I know I started my business because I have a big vision of helping men and women who haven't had the belief in themselves and perhaps haven't had the opportunity to follow their own path, their own dreams. It doesn't have to be their own business. Perhaps it's a career that will help them make the income that they want to live the lives they want to live, and again, to make that impact. I also have a lot of causes I'd like to give and support, as you probably would as well. So your grander vision in your business, I would imagine, includes philanthropy, but you're not able to give that the way you want to give right now. Maybe even in your business, maybe you feel you can't even offer scholarships or free trainings or free products to any of your clients because you're feeling really strapped. Another reason, another sign you know you need to make more money is that you can't up-level your business. So you're not able to maybe get hire the consultant to help you to move ahead. You can't pay for certain programs that will help you create graphics or oh gosh, there's just so much out there. I'm thinking I've got all these thoughts here, but you know what you would like to invest in your business, and you can't do that right now because you don't have the money. And you can bet as you make more money in your business, you should always be planning on investing back into it as well. Make that part of your plan. So right now, if you're feeling stuck that way, that's a sign you need to make more money. And another sign you need to make more money is that your vision board has some awesome goals, like personal goals, and you need money to reach those. So I'm talking about holidays. I'm talking about that nice couch. I'm talking about just being able to go to the spa once a week or to be able to take your partner out for dinner. Those kind of goals. And there's those goals, there's nothing wrong with them. But again, you need to make more money to support that. So those are, just 3 signs you need to make more money, and you can be honest with yourself about those signs. Take some time to think about what else is really telling you that it's time to make more money. As I said before, it's okay to want to make more money. I'm just going to take a sip of my tea here. I'm smiling because you might have been able to hear my swallow. As you get to know me, you'll know I'm a bit goofy too. So it's okay to want to make money. That's been my motto the past year. But I want you to understand why it is you want to make more money. What is the purpose of making more money? Because chasing those 5-figure months isn't going to serve you. If you get there and you have no idea what you're going to do with that money, you have no idea why you want it, and the only reason you want it right now is because you see other people doing it and it seems to be a measure of success. So let me tell you right now, people who are making more money than you, maybe a lot more money than you, may have more expenses, may have invested more, and they are not worth any more than you are. You are not your money. Do not base your self-value or your self-worth on your money. However, once you get very clear about why you want to make the money that you want to make, you'll feel so much better about it. So create your plan of impact, personal, business, and philanthropic. Know why you want to make money on a personal level. Is it to grow your savings, to pay off debt, to be able to buy organic food all the time, to buy nicer clothes? Is it to be able to travel every quarter to see your family? Business-wise, how is the money going to impact your business? And on a philanthropic basis, how are you going to be able to give more once you're making more money? So have a plan for that. And then it's going to feel like you have more purpose and you'll be more connected to that goal. Get clear on how much is enough, because I'm totally honest with you when I say that there are no boundaries on how much you can make. You can always choose to make more money. Again, there's certain steps you have to take and you have to put in the effort. However, how much is enough to make you happy? So that if you make more than what that level of enough is, it's just the icing on the cake. So let's take a little breather here. Again, I'm going to take another sip of tea. I know that talking about money can feel like a taboo. I have, as I said, I've worked in the financial industries for a long time, so I'm quite comfortable talking about money. And I do so in layman's terms and in a way that makes other people comfortable. I also know that talking about money can create anxiety. So if you are feeling tense, if you're wondering, what's around the corner as I dig into these 5 shifts, take a few breaths. Take some time to breathe in and breathe out. I didn't realize the value of breathing until I had a little girl who has anxiety. And I discounted breathing, but I can tell you that as I went through my own experience with anxiety and supported her, breathing is such a simple tool for feeling better. So take a breath in, take a breath out, and just sit, relax, and know that you're here starting your journey toward a better relationship with money. You totally rock for that. Okay, so let's dig into it. Money block number 1. So these money blocks are money blocks, the 5 most common money blocks that I hear. I was actually surprised when I first started coaching how often people came to me with the same renditions. The story is always different behind it. The reasons are always different, but the blocks themselves are very similar. So this is where these are coming from. I just didn't pick and choose. They are, when I go through my notes, these are the most common. So money block number 1, when it comes to selling, I feel like I have an ulterior motive. I feel like I have an ulterior motive. Does that sound familiar to you? Do you feel like you have an ulterior motive when you get into those sales calls? I want you to remember that when you are in a sales call, When you are in what sometimes people call discovery calls, whatever you want to call them, clarity calls, usually you're in those calls with your prospect because your prospect wants to know more about your business. You've either asked them if they would be interested in hearing more about what you have to offer them and how you can support them, or they've asked you for that information. So there is no ulterior motive. You're in that conversation because your prospect wants to hear about it. So you're not tricking anybody into anything. So make that shift. When it comes to selling, remember that you've attracted the right person to you who sees tremendous value in what you offer. They see tremendous value in that. It doesn't mean they're going to say yes at the end of the call, but just remember they see that value and you are there to get excited about being able to support them. So when you go into that call, or you're on the phone, you're just on a phone call with a friend and they're asking you what you do, or you meet a friend on the street or somebody who says, hey, I haven't seen you for a while, what's going on? Get excited about this conversation about what you do, especially when you have a prospect in front of you, because you have the opportunity to make an impact in his or her life. And that's what they're hoping you will do. That discovery call, the purpose of it is to make sure that the match is good between the two of you. So remember, you're not tricking anybody into anything. You're not talking anybody into anything. You're finding out if you're going to be able to support them. So get excited about that. Remember also that you have paid hundreds or maybe thousands of people for things and services that you wanted or needed. And that's what's happening here. You're no different than the corner store owner who's selling you some chips and a bottle of water. You're no different than them in that you're just selling something that someone else desires or perhaps even needs. So don't take that opportunity away from them. You may have heard other people say that as well. It's a disservice to say, no, sorry, I can't help you if you know you can and you're the right fit. Just plain old ask yourself, do I have an ulterior motive? What's the answer to that question? Do you have an ulterior motive? I'm betting the answer is no. So remember that. You're not that kind of person. You're not trying to trick anybody. So let's get into money block number 2. 2 of 5. I can't really charge them that much. I feel like I'm ripping them off. So at this point, it's time to get ultra clear on the value of your product or your service. This is a big one because we've seen a big trend where we're saying charge what you're worth. Well, as my mentor, Adrienne Dorson, says, we're priceless. But what is your product or service worth? And there's so many ways to look at a product and price it out. But if you're super clear about what the value is of your product, then you know that you're not ripping them off. It's very simple. So sit down and make a list. So if you have a service that you're providing and you feel like you're ripping them off, I want you to sit down with your wins list, where you're listing your skills, talents, and abilities, and everything you bring to the table. And it'll probably be at least 2 pages long. And it will remind you of the years that you've put in behind this work, of how you've helped other people, and of the value that you give somebody else. For example, if I don't like working on my website. It's under construction right now. I'd rather someone else work on that than me, because I have spent literally hundreds of hours last year working on my website, taking time away from gaining visibility, from coaching people. So the value that somebody offers by building my website is huge. So look at it that way, perhaps not dollar for dollar, but just in the way that you give your clients or your customers more time freed up. That's one way to look at it. And look at the results that your previous clients have had. What is that worth? What have they told you? Maybe look at testimonials that they've given you or emails where they've said, oh my gosh, this has helped me so much. I'm going to stop right here and tell you that I'm not just talking from my own experience from coaching and interviewing entrepreneurs. I've had to make all of these shifts myself because while I had my own, in my personal life, my money mindset had shifted hugely. I thought I had it all together. It turned out I didn't. So I had to make these shifts myself as well. And I spent a lot of time being in denial about this. It wasn't until about September or October when I realized I actually had these limiting beliefs myself and I had to work through this. I discounted so many of I discounted my services. I gave away a ton of coaching sessions for free. And I still do that. I still have free coaching sessions, but I've limited the time for those, and I only do one per person. So I've had to make all these shifts. I do not regret helping the people I helped last year. I don't feel resentful, but this is a business I want to grow. I have a plan of impact, and it's not going to happen if I don't make the money that my services are worth. So this is something I've gone through myself as well. And let's look back here. So you want to get ultra clear on the value of your service and product because you feel like you can't charge them that much. The other interesting thing is you worry that you're not giving them enough, but if a prospect has signed up with you, they see that there's enough in that package. And you can say to yourself, well, would I really under deliver? Do you think that you wouldn't deliver what you should be delivering to these prospects? Check into that. And if something's coming up for you where you think, okay, well, what if I don't have the time? What if it turns out that I can't help them? It's time to work on those beliefs a little bit more. It comes down again to confidence. And you'll have to remind yourself how you've helped other people. Sure, those other people might not have paid you as much or paid you at all. It doesn't matter though if people are paying you or not. You've made those impacts. Money block number 3. I'm quoting somebody that I did a free coaching session with right here. If I charge more, my client's going to own my time and own me. And this is another common money block. Your client's going to own you. Comes down to boundaries. And we have a question about this at the end of this training as well. Define your boundaries before you start working with a new client. Don't be afraid to lay everything else out in a contract. And in fact, you should. It's professional. It's there to protect you and it's there to protect your client. When I send contracts to my clients, I look at it as a way to reassure them that they're protected as well. So lay out the boundaries in a contract. If you want to put it into more layman terms, also include a welcome letter. I respond to emails Monday to Friday at this time, give me 24 hours, or you can expect this much time to deliver on this product. Obvious things like that. And lay it all out in the contract, which your client should read and you can come back to. So again, if you've said to your client, I'm going to do A, B, C, and they've agreed to sign up with you, that's enough. They're not going to own you. And if they start pushing your boundaries, you have your contract to protect you. And create a system that's going to help you catch yourself over delivering. I have nothing against over delivering, but over delivering to the point where you're not spending time with your partner or your family, or you're tired, you're getting sick, you're making mistakes, you're not able to deliver as you promised to other clients. That is not good, especially if you're over delivering for a client that wasn't expecting that and wasn't laid out in the contract. So create a system so you're catching yourself over delivering, whether it's using your day timer and being very specific every week and every day about what you're going to be doing for each client. And if you find that you're pushing yourself past those allotments, pull back and see if you're over delivering. Money block number 4. How can I charge for doing something that comes so easy to me? I've heard this like a million times. So, has it always been this easy for you? If you're a website designer, for example, and you can create a website in 3 or 4 days that your clients are super happy with, has it always been that easy? Have you been able to do that since you were a kid? Or did you go to school? Did you put in years of training? Or on the flip side, do you have a knack for this? That's okay. Again, it comes down to the value you add to your client's life and to their business. So give yourself some credit. You've probably put in years of life experience, work experience, and possibly school to get to the point that you are here. It's easy for you because you're proficient. That's it. And it should be easy for you. It should be smooth sailing. That's what being in business for ourselves is. We want challenges, but it should also feel natural. We shouldn't be fighting the tide all the time. And just remember, because it's easy for you, it's not easy for everybody. Again, I keep coming back to that website example. It adds value when you're able to save other people time so that they can do what they're good at in their business. Okay, so we're at the end here with money block number 5, and we're talking about fear. Fear of success, fear of failure, and fear of regret. Fear of success is really funny, and that was one of the major blocks I had last year. And that translated this way. If I take on more clients, because that's how it felt, if I take on, not if I'm able to, grow my business by helping to impact other people, which is how I look at it now. If I take on more clients, I'm not going to have time to do the stuff I want to do, and I'm never going to see my kids, and I'm going to be really tired, and I don't know if I can manage it, and I'm never going to be able to help them anyway, so why bother? That's one way that our fear of success plays into it. Some people have explained to me that they are fearful of success because they feel as if they're going to be leaving friends, family, other people behind. That is a huge one as well. And we really need to come to terms with that, because our relationships do shift as we change our lives. And sure, as we have certain successes, because we've grown new relationships that have supported us to get to that point of success. Let's be honest, sometimes people are just plain envious. There are a whole bunch of other reasons your relationships might change, but you don't have to leave people behind. If you're feeling that there's people in your life who are holding you back, maybe it's a toxic relationship, well, then you can take steps to end that as well. That's a whole different topic, but fear of success plays into that quite a bit. So change of relationships, fear that you won't have enough time. What are you going to do with the money you make? Some people are afraid of that. You might change, which I doubt. You'll only get better. Fear of failure, sure. That ties into fear of regret. We've all been there as well, but you're not going to know unless you try. You're not going to know unless you try. So how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? That's where you have to take that plunge sometimes. You're not going to move forward. And our humans are funny. We want to stay stuck in uncomfortable situations because it's more comfortable. So there is a very conscious push through to get to that next level. And that's why not everybody is a successful entrepreneur. It's because they don't want to take that next step forward for whatever reason. It scares them. And they're just afraid. We also have this fear of regret, again, ties into fear of failure, where we think often that comes around with investments. You don't want to regret investing in something because you've done that before, something similar before, and it hasn't worked out. Or you've invested in getting a program started that has failed. So you can take those regrets, dig into regret. There's nothing wrong with feeling some regret because out of that will come lessons. Things that you know you should do differently, things that surprised you, and you can take that information and use it for your next launch. It's not a bad thing having a little bit of regret. So again, what do you want more? Do you want to stay where you are or do you want to give it a try? Sounds simple, I know, and trust me, I understand these fears, but it's what's going to hold you back. Fear sucks lemons, and so does never knowing. Fear sucks lemons, but so does never knowing where you might have been if you tried. So know that fear precedes great success. Any successful person will tell you that. And remember that your brain is totally uncomfortable with change and it'll do whatever it can to trick you into not moving forward. Our brains are funny things, so be smarter than your brain. Remind yourself that it's saying, watch out, watch out, watch out. It's like you're a parent making sure that you stay safe because being here, knowing what you know is so much safer than that unknown. So I'm going to unshare my screen here and get to the questions. I'll remind you that if you want to reach me, you can do so by emailing me at Meredith at meredithbissiker.com. And you can find me on Facebook and Make Money with Heart. I will be having it's not going to be a challenge. I'm not quite sure what we're going to call it, but I don't want it to be challenging at all. I have an event happening in a couple of weeks to help those of you who have good motives. I want to feel good about making the money that you are only dreaming of right now. So I'll be getting some information to you about that later, but not today. So let's get to the questions here. And I'm just going to hop on to my screen. So if I stare funnily at my screen, it's because I'm reading here. So one person has written in and said that she had a recent money mindset scare last week. And this particular lady has done a lot of work around her money mindset, but she had a scare. And after getting a letter from the IRS about taxes, she found out that she owes them more money. So it tapped into her insecurities about money, which she hasn't had or experienced in a while. And she wants to know what are some easy ways to get out of that money mindset funk. So what's interesting here is this lady she knows that she's made huge strides in her money mindset. I had a great conversation with her recently, and she's really, she's got a very positive outlook around money. But there's still stuff that's sitting back here in her brain, not back in her hair, but in her brain. And it's been triggered. So it'd be interesting to find out what is running through her brain. And if you experience this where you're feeling great for weeks or months, and something like this letter comes and triggers you, I highly recommend that you journal around this, that you write it down. Don't spend a lot of time about it, but just half a page or a page. I'm feeling triggered because, so that you can, first of all, release it. Second of all, there might be something in that journaling that gives you an inkling into more of what you need to work on around your money mindset. So to put this into context, when I work with my clients, one of the first things they do is write their money bio, their story about money from their first memory onward. And yeah, this can be triggering work, but it's a release. And it also brings forth a lot of those limiting beliefs that they weren't aware they had. So that as they're moving forward, when those limiting beliefs come up, they can have a dialogue with themselves. And as I promised you, I have a quick, it's not a fix, but a tool that you can use just like this to get you out of that funk. For example, if I'm really tired, or I have a migraine coming on, and I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling just so, I will still get that feeling in my stomach, the pit of my stomach, where I'm feeling anxious about money. I'll have a conversation with myself. And I encourage you to talk to yourself as well. And I'll say, why are you feeling like this? I'm worried about money for some reason. Well, why are you worried about money? I don't know. I don't feel like we're going to have enough to cover the bills. And really, I'm just going back to that fear I had. That was like, it wasn't fear. It was real life a few years ago, where I didn't know where we were going to get our money to pay the next bill. So I'll ask myself, well, do you have enough money now? Yeah, I do. So should you worry? No, I don't need to worry. Everything's fine. And then I'll move into some gratitude. I'm so thankful for my house. I'm so thankful that my kids have, food to eat, and that I'm able to, that I have the time to show them the love I want to give them, or whatever's coming up for me in that moment. So to recap, I ask myself questions. Why am I feeling this way? You can even take it a step forward, or take it another step forward, and think about why your body's going this way. And for me, it seems to want, my mind's trying to protect me from something, from some cataclysmic event, which is very silly. So understanding that I'm trying to protect myself, that's the reward here. That's the actual reward I'm giving myself. So I can remind myself that my husband and I have taken huge steps and action to protect ourselves, and we're going to be fine. So for this lady with her question, what are some easy ways to get out of a money mindset funk? To have a conversation with yourself, say some gratitudes. In the case of owing more taxes, take some action. Can you put a plan together for paying that off? Can you call them and say, okay, I've got this letter. Thanks so much. Well, you're not going to thank the IRS for sending you this letter, but what are the next steps? Take the action, know that you've got the control here, and make a plan. There's my tips for that question. And if you would like me to expand more, I'm quite happy to do that. You can even comment down below on the YouTube video, and I believe, so I can answer there. So I have another question here, and I'm going to be, I think this will be our last question for this training, because we've gone quite far into it. And I know your time is precious, but this question could be very interesting for you if you are having problems charging for your services. So this lady says that one of her challenges is that she's an obliger. So she says, sometimes I know I make decisions that benefit my clients, but cause me stress, or are not the most financially sound for my family. I'll do small things and not charge, or rearrange my schedule to accommodate clients, even if that means I stay up late or work when my kids are home from school. when I'd rather be spending time with them. I guess in a lot of ways, this comes back to how I value or don't value myself or my services. If I value myself, shouldn't I be able to set boundaries and not feel like I'm failing my clients because I couldn't get something done ASAP? Absolutely. So there's a few things playing there. And number one is making decisions that benefit your clients but don't benefit you. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Start off working with your clients, explaining to them in a contract and even just in a conversation how you work. Expected time periods. If you have clients who want something like yesterday, all of a sudden, then either charge for it or say, no, I'm sorry, I'm working on a few other projects and it just isn't going to work right now. So then they know next time to ask you ahead of time if they know it's coming. Sometimes we just don't know these things are coming. So does it come down to the way you value yourself? It could. It could. I'm not going to say that it's for sure. It could be how you value your own time. Could be that you're putting more priority, and it sounds like you are, on your client's needs than your needs, and you're number one, right? We know that you're number one. The more you push, the greater the chances that you're going to get sick or tired, lose momentum, get frustrated, throw in the towel, etc., etc. So I think what you would find is that as you set boundaries, there's so much going on with this one particular question. As you're setting boundaries, it's going to be scary at first, but you will actually garner the respect of your clients by setting those boundaries. Think of someone who sets boundaries with you in a respectful way. Don't you respect those boundaries? If someone says, I need at least a week to get this done for you, so I need the information now or tomorrow, wouldn't you get it to them right away? So why don't you expect that from your clients as well? So there's a lot of other digging into, we could look at that money bio and find out what's happened. Something that could be interesting is looking at where you were when you were a child. Were you always obliging as a child? Were you rewarded for that? And you can see how this all snowballs. So that's getting into a deeper conversation, but that's really where it comes from. We could keep going on with that question. It's a very interesting one, but I'm going to wrap it up here and say thank you so much for joining me for this training. It's been something I've been planning for a long time and wanted to get out there. And I really appreciate that you've stayed with me up until this point. Because you've stayed with me to this point, I'd like to offer you a free 30-minute session with me if you haven't already taken advantage of that. So if you have a money block that you'd like to discuss, if you're still not sure if your money mindset's tripping you up around your business or if there's something else, anything that's piqued your interest, please reach out to me and I'll send you a link to my schedule. And in fact, I'll probably add it just below as well so that you can schedule that free 30-minute session with me and we can dig into that a little bit more. I'm told time and time again that those 30-minute sessions can be so powerful, that amazing shifts come just out of those sessions for people because it gets the ball rolling in here. So reach out to me. Also, if you have any other questions, Meredith@meredithbissiker.com. I'm over at Make Money with Heart on Facebook. And I'll be sending out a lot more trainings for you as we move forward. I appreciate you staying with me till the end here. And I hope to talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.